Hello everyone, this is Dr. Song. Welcome to my YouTube video. So, we have started our quantitative research method course and now we are in week 2. So, you remember in our last sessions I was explaining what quantitative research is and their ontological and epistemological perspectives. And then I was explaining about the variables. So, in fact, very simply, variables are the questions you see in the survey questionnaire. So each question that you can consider that is a variable. And now I was explaining how many levels of measurement in the data. So you can see here they have the two categories, qualitative and the quantitative categories. Under the qualitative category, you have a nominal variable and the ordinal variable. Quantitative, you have an interval and the ratio. So, very simply speaking, nominal variable that doesn't have any numerical value and you cannot make an average. So, nominal variable, the good example can be male and a female, or marital status like a single, married, or another, like that. So, that is the nominal variable example. And then you can see that any value cannot be the ranked. They are same and equally considered as a one quality. And the ordinal variable, a good example can be like education level. It can be the primary school, secondary school, and then university. So that is the like a ranked order, and then you can consider that is ordinal variable. And in the quantitative, so continuous variable, you can consider that interval and the ratio. So interval variable doesn't have the zero value. Ratio variable that has the zero value. So you can see in this like a diagram, why nominal is so low and then ratio is high. There is a reason. So ratio variable has the absolute zero value. This one and also interval variable, we consider that continuous variable that use the numerical value. So you can have these variables to use in your research very comfortably and then very flexibly. So interval ratio and then the interval and the ratio variables that has the value from the 0 and then the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. You can group them like 0, 1 as the low group, 2, 3 is a middle group, and then 4, 5 as a high group. So if you convert their characteristic in this way, you can use that as an ordinal variable. So ratio and then interval, they can go back to the this degree, but the ordinal can never be in the higher degree. So that's why I'm saying that these continuous variables are very flexible variables, and then many researchers, they need this for their research. And then ordinal variable, you can rank. So high, middle, and low. So at least you can have a kind of that characteristic very different from the nominal. Nominal, you cannot rank. So male, female, that is the same, equally as different quality. They are mutually exclusive. And the red color hair and the black and the blonde also, you cannot put that rank. You can just consider that has each value. So that is nominal variable. So this diagram shows that if you have the interval ratio variables, you can go back to this type of variable, but these variables never can be the higher level. So this is exactly what I was explaining. You can see that you can recode the ordinal variable and the nominal variable with the interval ratio. So that's why we recommend researchers to have the interval and the ratio, because when they need, they can recode. And then here you can see the abstract concepts that can be measured by the scale variables. So what that means, when you want to know the social phenomena like depression or self-esteem and then self-perception, etc., this kind of concept is very abstract to define. So you have to find in the literature how you will define those abstract concepts, and then after defining, you have to create scale variables to measure each definition. So for instance, here I put one example like feminism. Feminism, how you will define this feminism. And then you found in the literature, they were defining feminism by the liberty, right, equality. Okay, so you choose those three concepts to define the feminism. and now you put the many scale variables to define the liberty. So you will ask the many questions to know what people think about the liberty. So that is that can measure the many different aspects. So these are the scale variables, and then also scale variables can be the just several questions, but also you can qualify the different subscales. So if you consider that liberty has the different questions and the right to have different questions, of course you can put that subscales under the scale variable. So Likert scale, when you construct the one scale variable, you can use the Likert scales. That is coming from the 1 point to the 7, or you sometimes it's a 10, but it's a very generally commonly used. It's a 7-point Likert scale. And then the scale variable can measure the thoughts and the feelings, abstract concepts. That's why we are using that to find the phenomenon in society with abstract concepts. And then this is the most commonly used, how you adopt the scale variable. So you can see that is a BSMAS. That is already constructed scale. And that is the very well-known scale among researchers. So you don't need to create your scale variable because that is not very reliable. That should be recognized by people. It takes time. So you can use the well-known scale variable. How you will find this? When you go to this article's reference list, you will find that who used this scale variable, and then you will go to this article to find what ESMAS scale is. You will find exactly the scale. So that is a way how you adopt the scale. And then this is the one example how you will create or how you will adopt one scale variable. So, for instance, you want to know the phenomenon of the relationship, and the relationship that is defined by the self-disclosure, that is defined by the relationship satisfaction, for instance. And then under the relationships, you have these subscales. Self-disclosure has the 1 and the 10 questions. That will bring you the answers about the self-disclosure. And then another subscale is the relationship satisfaction. They have the 7 questions. So these variables will bring you the phenomenon of the relationship satisfaction. And then you can proceed with the phenomenon, how you will understand the relationships with these subscales. This shows that how you develop new skills. Of course, it's possible to develop new skills, and then you will proceed with these steps. First, you have to develop the item, identification of the domain, and then also you should think about how you will define that concept. And then you develop the scale. So like a subscales, what you saw just before, and then how you will define those concepts with how many subscales. And then, of course, you will do the many tests. And then finally, when you have your scale, and you have to evaluate the scale is reliable, the scale is very valid to use. So that is the like general steps how you create the new scale. First, you read the literature and then discuss about this subject, and then you collect the concept. For instance, the procrastination, how you will define those concepts. And then you will now describe your research questions. So what you want to know from this phenomenon. And then you construct the questions. So that is about the variable. We are in the steps of a variable now, and this is the steps. So you construct the questions, and then that means that exactly you constructed the variables. And then this one is a survey questionnaire. So of course, those questions will be combined in the one survey questionnaire. And then you will use many software to create the survey questionnaire. For instance, Qualtrics, that is very much known in the academic situation. But also you have the like Survey Monkey, that is very much used also by any normal people. And then you collect the data. So how you can do the sampling? Maybe you will do the random sample or convenient sample. And then you can import your collected data into SPSS. That is the software where we use. And then you analyze this SPSS. That will be the descriptive and the inferential statistics. So you have to go first the descriptive. That is like you are cleaning your data, and then you will go for the inferential statistic. that is very much based on what kind of a variable you constructed. So you have to think about that before going to the inferential statistic about the characteristic of your measurement. And then you will report the result based on the APA style that is most commonly used. But also you will think about what kind of publication you will choose. It can be the article, like an academic article, but also you can choose the infographic poster that will have the visual images, maybe that will be more accessible to the normal public. And then scale variables with the subscales, that is like the what I explained and then what I showed you before. You have another example here. For instance, here, empathetic listening scale. You want to know about the what empathetic listening is, and then you will divide by the three sections: sensing, processing, responding. So they have the different questions, and then they will bring the as a whole about the empathetic listening scale. So, about these variables, why we needed to be very careful about the construction of the variable measurement, because you cannot use the several variables for this specific test. For instance, the correlation regression test require the only continuous variables. So you cannot use your ordinal and the nominal variables for that test. And also independent t-test that require the nominal dichotomous independent variable. So you need the one nominal variable, but also dichotomous. And then ANOVA test that require the nominal variable, but with more than two values. So three groups or four groups. So that's why you have to think what kind of measurement you will choose for your research from the very beginning of the research is very important. When you done satisfy your assumptions, and also you have to use the parametric test. So that is also another implication. And then one single item or the 4-point Likert scale that we consider as an ordinal variable, not the scale variable. So be careful about when you construct the scale variables, you will use how many points, and then that will change the characteristic of your measurement. And be ordinal, more than 5 points is a scale variable. So multiple items, more than 4 points, you will consider that as an interval variable. So that is a continuous variable. So the first one is categorical, second one is a continuous variable. And then now pure numbers, when you measure actual age, income, and the number of children, etc., that can have the zero. So that is the ratio variable. And when it's a ratio variable, is most flexible to convert to a different type of variable, like a nominal and ordinal also. So all this you have to think when you conduct the quantitative research, and then especially about the steps of variables, you have to be very, very prudent and then careful, because that will affect the next steps of your quantitative research. Yeah. So until here, today week 2 class, and then I will continue next time about some summary about what we have done with the variables, and then we will go more details about the next step of quantitative research method. Thank you so much, and then see you next time.